We all know that there is a big gap between the rich and the poor. It's not something new because wealth inequality has always been around, almost in every single society throughout the history. Let's take a look at the actual data of how wealth is distributed in the United States. It might seem unbelievable, but believe it or not, more than 35% of America's wealth are in the hands of only 1% of its citizens. Not 10%, neither 5 or even 3. It's 1%. The total wealth of the United States is estimated to be $85 trillion, which means that this 1% of the population literally owns almost $30 trillion. Amazing, right? Before you make your conclusions where the rest of the wealth goes to, let me tell you about the rest of the statistics. The next 4% of the population owns roughly around 28% of the total wealth, which is lesser than the top 1% by a significant amount. Moving to the next 5%, they hold the other 14%. The next 10% of the population are not that far away as they own 14% of that wealth. What's more fascinating is that the next 40% of the population owns the rest of that wealth. Wait a second, you're probably a little confused, right? Because that leaves us with another 40% of the population. What about them? They make up almost half of the country. The truth is that they don't own anything of that wealth. Seriously? Yes, seriously. If you are from outside US, your country isn't far away from the statistics. In fact, 8 richest men in the world own as much wealth as the poorest half of the world's population. This chart might make you feel a little bad about what's happening in the world, but honestly, it's not a coincidence. People who ended up in every category, in most of the cases, made the choice to be there. Yes, of course, there is a little bit of luck here and there, but mostly it's about the different financial decisions they have made. And the purpose of this video isn't to make you feel about that wealth inequality, but rather to teach you about the different financial decisions people made and ended up in different categories in this chart, so that you can make such decisions and end up in the top 10% or at least 20%. Before we move on, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell besides it to be updated when the next video will be up on the channel. What differentiates people on the top 1% from the bottom 40% is the way they think, the way they understand money, and all this can be explained in this simple quadrant. The first type of people are employees who make the majority of the bottom 40%. You might still be wondering, how is it possible that they don't own anything? It's pretty simple to explain. Most people graduate from college with a student loan to pay back, so their net worth is automatically negative because your net worth is all what you own minus your debts. But that's only part of the problem because most of these people find a stable job and then buy a house and a car on debt, which they will pay most probably for the rest of their life. The bigger problem is that they cannot leave that job because they have to make periodic payments to cover their loans. So no wonder they are in the bottom 40% because they made the choice to be there. No one forced them to take all these loans and depend on their job only. We all know that the salary that most people are paid off isn't enough to cover all the expenses, so you have to live month to month. Now, the second category of people are a little bit better. They understand that with a job, they cannot become financially free anytime soon, so they start their own little business. Instead of working for someone else, now they work for themselves. They are way better off than those in the bottom 40%, but they are not going to go that far because although that they are their own boss, they still cannot survive if they stop working because their business is extremely dependent on them. So they create some sort of wealth throughout their life, but not that much. The people who create real wealth move from being self-employed to becoming business owners. These are the people who are in the top 20% who owns almost 90% of the total wealth. The difference between these two is that self-employed runs the business, but business owners creates a business that's capable of running without him, and he still takes the profit. For instance, self-employed sets a shop and starts working there, while business owner builds the shop but hires someone else to run it, and he takes the profit, while he moves and builds another shop, and so on. What's going to happen over time is that the more shops he builds, the more money he will have to build even more shops. In other words, he will keep getting richer, and that's why the rich get richer. While the people on the other side, especially employees, whose income is absolutely limited, but they're going to get another loan to buy the new iPhone. In other words, they just keep getting poorer. It's just a matter of time before the gap between these two is going to get even bigger. Now let's move to the last type of people in this quadrant, who are investors. These are the type of people who invest in other people's businesses. Usually people who are here, once they start making a lot of money, instead of starting another new business from scratch, they simply invest in a ready business. So without literally doing anything, these businesses share their profit with him because he's an investor in that business. And the more money he makes, the more money he invests and the richer he gets. And that's the reason why people on the top get richer while those who are in the bottom keep getting poorer. So where would you like to be? Are you ready to work your ass off to be in the top 10 or 20%? Or you're comfortable with a stable job and tons of loans on your shoulder? This video is based on the book Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. So I have left an affiliate link in the description of this video if you want to get the book. Anyways, now I want to know your opinion. Why do you think most people end up in the bottom 40%? And as always, thanks guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next one.